All right, Kraken's an underwater robotics company originally based out of St. John's, Newfoundland, and what we do is we provide very high-end underwater sensors, batteries, and complete systems, which are used for finding things on the seafloor. Traditionally, we started in the military market and we've moved into the commercial market over time. So our military-grade technology started out on the sonar side with technology called synthetic aperture sonar, or SAS, so you hear me use that acronym. As we've evolved over time, we've started to build complete systems as opposed to just the sensors that we sold to other people's underwater vehicles. And then along the way, we've also developed a laser scanner as well, so both laser and sonar imaging technologies. We're a 6-year-old company. We just closed a small acquisition in Germany recently on the battery side, so today we have just over 70 employees across Canada, the US, and Germany. And we've exported product to over 10 countries since the inception of the company. As I said, both the Navy and defense contractors are our initial customers, and then in the last couple of years we've moved more into the commercial side as well. Just to show you these pictures on the bottom of here, I don't want to give you too many acronyms, but in the underwater domain there's different pieces of technology. The first one on the left is an AUV, or autonomous underwater vehicle. So that is battery operated. They range in different shapes and sizes, and they can go as deep as full ocean depth, so down 6,000 meters. On the next one, the USV, unmanned surface vessel, we don't sell that piece of equipment, but we sell equipment to companies that do that. That is a robot boat or a drone boat. And then the Towfish and the ROV. The Towfish we'll talk about. We have a product called KATFISH. And then the ROV, we put equipment that goes on the ROV, predominantly in the oil and gas space. We've been public for about 3 years now. We're roughly a 65 million enterprise value. We closed a financing, bought deal financing in December, so we have over 6 million in cash on the balance sheet. Management Insiders owns roughly 30% of the stock. One of our customers, Ocean Infinity, invested in us last year, and they currently own about 11% of our stock. We have research coverage for the first time. Both Claris and Beacon Securities in Q4 of last year picked up research coverage on us. A few pictures for you just to show you what we do. The top right picture with the 3 torpedo-looking devices, those are called KATFISH. The KATFISH product sells for between $1.5 and $2.5 million US, and when you hear us talk about our pipeline of Navy bids, most of those relate to the KATFISH product. Last year we sold 2 of those products, one to the Israelis and one to the Germans, and the other one we're currently using for a test demonstrator. That product on the military side is used for underwater mine hunting. On the bottom, the orange devices, that's our customer, Ocean Infinity. They have 10 of those underwater vehicles today, and they recently announced that they're buying 5 more. This is Ocean Infinity's the company that looked for the Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. They also recently found the Argentinian submarine that disappeared in the last year. So Ocean Infinity, in this particular case, they are using our batteries and our sensors on those vehicles. As we go forward, the product in the top right there, the Kit Kat-shaped AUV, we call that THUNDERFISH, and our plan is to sell those to Ocean Infinity as well in the future. So today they buy our sensors and our batteries. In the future, we expect that they will buy our full systems, both the KATFISH and the THUNDERFISH. Bottom right is batteries, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here. In terms of a pipeline of opportunities, really the Navy being the key driver here. On the international side, we have 3-4 different Navy bids that we're in process of. They've been bid and we're waiting for contract announcements. 2 of those we expect that we'll hear in the first half of this year. 2 of those are European, one is the Far East and one is Canadian. On the U.S. Navy side, we have an admiral who used to run the U.S. submarine fleet. He joined our company about a year ago on the board, and he's opening a bunch of doors, and we expect we'll have contract announcements on the U.S. Navy side this year as well. And then finally on the battery side, there's a large market opportunity there. Our first big contract was a $9 million contract with Ocean Infinity. The supercluster in the bottom left we're part of the Ocean Supercluster. Proposals have been submitted, and we expect that we'll have news on that front in the next 3 months as well. Corporate strategy, just use the baseball diamond analogy. We started off as a sensor company. As we've evolved over time, we were developing complete systems. Sensors sell anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000 or $600,000. Our complete systems sell from $1.5 million to $3 million. Eventually, where we want to end up is robotics as a service. And through the supercluster and some other efforts that we're making, we think investors will hear more and more about that over time. The next couple of years, we have a lot on our plate just on the product sales side, and you'll see good news out of that. But over time, we'll move more towards a robotics as a service and recurring revenue model. Just back to the start, so SaaS, synthetic aperture sonar, just to give you a picture here. On the left, that's one of our French customers, Echo Robotics. That's a shipwreck showing the imaging technology that we provide. On the bottom right, those are Volvo cars that were dropped in Halifax Harbor or offshore Halifax back in the 60s. And the conventional technology is the image on the top, and our synthetic aperture sonar, our SaaS, is the technology on the bottom. SeaVision is our 3D laser product. This was developed by the Germans. The SaaS technology we talked about can stand off a long distance and find very small objects on the seafloor. That uses sonar. The SeaVision technology is different in the sense that it goes closer to the subsea asset, and that could be a pipeline. It could be a piece of equipment sitting on the ocean floor, and we'll do a 3D scan of it in a very short, 5 seconds or 10 seconds. We'll recreate it in 3D point cloud, and then the customer can go look at that. Over time, as we do the scans, they'll say that they'll be able to show that technology that the piece of equipment on the seafloor is in need of maintenance. So the whole goal with that is predictive maintenance. This is an example of some applications of SeaVision. They could be deployed, the SeaVision laser can be deployed on an underwater crawler, so think of a Mars rover, but for the ocean floor. Or it could be deployed on a small inspection class ROV, so that's an example of where using the SeaVision to scan a ship hull to look for defects in the ship hull, or a work class ROV. These work class ROVs can weigh 4 or 5 or 6 tons, and our technology would go on those and use for subsea oil and gas applications. As I said, evolving from sensors to systems. So the top picture is the KATFISH. It's a tethered vehicle. The next picture on below that is the THUNDERFISH, which is an untethered, fully autonomous vehicle. Some pictures on the KATFISH, the developments over the last year. After several years of development, we've announced our first sales. Both the Israelis and the Germans bought the first 2 units. The picture on the right is the Israelis. That's a robot drone boat called a Seagull from Elbit Systems out of Israel. That's our KATFISH on the back of that. So we've also done mil standard testing on it, which means it's military certified, very rugged. And we also did some U.S. Navy trials, as you can see there on the slide, last year, which we think we'll have news about this year. There's a picture of our winch, which is used to deploy the underwater KATFISH. Customers don't come to us and just say, we want to buy your underwater fish. They also want the launch and recovery equipment. The launch and recovery equipment can range from just $250,000 to $300,000 for the winch to a full $750,000 for a full autonomous launch and recovery system. That was manufactured by, we have a 7-person group out of Halifax who used to be Rolls-Royce Marine people. Rolls-Royce laid off a bunch of people and we hired that group. Kraken Power, this has been a big driver of the story over the last year. The picture on the left is one of 4 battery systems that would go inside an Ocean Infinity vehicle. That particular one on the left is 20 kilowatt hours, so in an Ocean Infinity vehicle you'll see 80 kilowatt hours. Why our technology is useful to them is through our pressure tolerant encapsulation. They're able to allow to put more energy density into a vehicle. And in simple terms, it means that their vehicle, which is going thousands of meters down below the water, their battery life can be 80 plus hours versus with our technology versus 50 plus hours with competitor technology. There's our THUNDERFISH. Most notable, it was used on the search for the Aperture models a couple of years ago. This product is still a prototype. It will be fully commercialized next year, and we will expect you'll start to see news about product sales in the 2020 timeframe. Robotics as a service, the technology you've seen previously is all about service, is all about products. The robotics as a service, or our SeaScout offering, is offering those products on a service basis to a customer. In some cases, they don't want to own the equipment, they just want us to do the survey for them. So summarizing here, why own Kraken stock? This is an industry with high barriers to entry. We have a strong competitive position. There's only a handful of customers that we compete against. It is a large market today, $5 billion plus market by 2020. If you look at our news releases, there's a number of partnerships and new product developments, and there's an industry upgrade cycle happening on the military side. And companies like Elbit and Lockheed Martin and General Electric will be key drivers of taking us to market. We have a number of catalysts over the next year, just in terms of the existing large contract pipeline. And the smart guys in the industry, our customers, took an investment in us, so that we think that speaks quite a bit. And management has a lot of skin in the game with 30% of the stock. And with that, I think I'm over my time, but was there a question or two? Yes. Yeah, so traditionally the market today is predominantly with side scan sonar technology. And what's happened as the technology has improved, the technology, SAS, or our technology, used to be way too expensive for the industry, and the technology has improved and prices have come down. Now what you're seeing is that the traditional industry is starting to get replaced by synthetic aperture sonar technology. So 5 years ago, you would not have seen a SAS product spec'd into a Navy bid. Now all the new Navy bids have SAS. So that's really what the key driver is. Of that $5 billion market, about $1.5 billion of that is the U.S. Navy. If you go back and look at the federal budget for them, there's about $1.5 billion there. And all of that is evolving to SAS type technology, both sensors and vehicles. Our competitors, Northrop Grumman, Thales, and Kongsberg are our main competitors. In some cases, some of those guys have similar technology to us, but they also have price points. So our KATFISH product would sell for about $2.5 million on a military version. Northrop's product would sell in the $6, $7, $8 million range. So at the high end, there's not a whole lot of competitive difference on the technology front, but price point, we're definitely much more competitive than those guys are. Corporate-wide, we're in the 55% range, and depending on product offering, they can range from mid-40s to upwards of 75%. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, one final thing. We're at booth 301, so if anybody wanted to stop by, there's a video and we can answer more questions there. Thank you.